little bit. The Giants had 2 sacks. The Rams had 5 sacks. To the Rams' credit, they only had 1 penalty.
The Rams have Aaron Donald too. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay,
it looked like the Giants' offense. It looked like they finally got into a rhythm for the most part, because I think they got the first quarter was just awful. I think that the Rams had 4 sacks. The Giants couldn't do anything. But slowly but surely, once they started to spread the ball out, they're able to run the ball enough, because usually the Giants' offense would be 50-yard run and then a bunch of negative plays. This time, and it was a lot of people doing it. Wayne Gallman had a 25-yard run. Devontae Freeman is showing to be a versatile weapon where he can be used in the pass game. He had some tough runs too. I think a good call was on 3rd and 10 when they handed off to Freeman, and he was able to smash it up for 10 yards, which is crucial. Daniel Jones, even when he was running with the ball, he wasn't afraid for contact a lot of times. He didn't shy away from it, which were some key things. Granted, he had his – yes, man.
Well, I just wanted to throw in real quick, just piling on your subject matter. Wayne Gallman averaged 7.5 yards a carry. Daniel Jones, 7.5 yards a carry. Dion Lewis, 10 yards a carry. Yeah, you're having a good day.
Yeah, and I think, too, this is a multi-head monster. And like you said, they have Aaron Donald on the other side. So this team wasn't a pushover. And I think they're slowly but surely figuring things out. And whenever you set up, not even do a play-action pass, whenever you set up, in a shotgun formation with the running back to the left or right of Daniel Jones, the defense, they're going to have to hesitate a little bit, because they're going to have to look for where the ball is. But another thing Daniel Jones needs to work on, his play-action fakes are horrific. He is like giving the ball to like the invisible running back. He needs to do a better job of making it look more realistic, like he is handing the ball off. And also, I thought there were a few bad snaps from the center in a shotgun formation. Luckily, it didn't really hurt the Giants, but for the offense to run quicker, I think that would work. Van, what do you got?
Well, how can you blame him handing off to an invisible running back? Isn't that what he's been doing for 3 weeks?
Well, not this week. They had over 100.
Not this week. Okay, I agree. But habits are made, man. They're hard to break. The running game today was excellent.
Saquon Barkley is still in our hearts, but this is something too. It's almost looks like I absolutely hate moral victories. Because moral victories are something losers call for. But when you look at the Giants' totality, as they mentioned, they are the youngest team in the NFL. And there are some.
The arrow's pointing up for the Giants. I love what they're doing. I like the way their offense came together. I tell you what, I like the way their defense came together.
I did.
It's not a matter of the Rams. Well, they just shot themselves in the foot. No, they didn't. Goff wasn't throwing turnover after turnover. That wasn't what was happening. They were playing good, solid defense.
Yeah. And it was, one of the improvements that I've seen is everyone goes to the ball. Where if the first guy misses the tackle, the second guy is able to clean it up. Blake Martinez is a heat-seeking missile at linebacker.
Oh, yeah.
Dexter Lawrence, it was like everyone, there's a bunch of tackles for losses on both sides. So this is something, too. If you look at the defensive unit, you got to be looking around and being like, know what? They're decent. They're respectable. They are.
Okay. This is a quick reaction video. What is your quick reaction on Evan Engram? 10 targets, 6 receptions. I thought he helped move the chains, but he didn't really get the ball downfield much, did he?
No, they used him more, not really in vertical routes. I think they only really used the vertical route once with Darius Slayton, were able to execute it with them. I think they want to use Evan Engram on more crossing routes, underneath routes, so we could get that mismatch on the linebacker and take it deep. Remember, like he did last year against Tampa Bay. So that's kind of something.
That's what Garrett likes to do, man.
But I also think, too,
go ahead.
Where the Giants shot themselves in the foot, I feel like sometimes they have the ball, they're in the red zone. I think the score's 10-6. The Giants could potentially score a touchdown. And when they're in the red zone, they got 2 procedure penalties. And it was off the same type of formation where they had kind of 2 guys in motion. They might be getting a little bit too exotic. I can understand.
Didn't you just say they were the youngest team in the NFL? Yeah. That's what you get. All right. I mean, that is why those penalties are there. All right. Yeah. Were they too exotic for the youngest team in the NFL? Well, I'd say, yeah, they were. Okay. Because of the penalties. The other thing I wanted to throw out there about Engram, though, is you and I have talked about in this offense, what this young man needed to focus on more than anything was his blocking. Tip of the cap today. When your guys are averaging 7.5 a carry, your tight end's doing his job.
Well, there's a part of me too. One of the interesting things I saw the Giants do is, they'll go out, they'll have the running back go out to wide receiver, then they would make motion, the running backs in the backfield, which is going to be interesting. But I really would like to see, and also I'll credit the Giants for this. They had a solid drive to close this second quarter, to close the first half, because usually it's the Giants' opposition that has the ball, scores a touchdown, and breaks the Giants back. Because I think they gave up 24 points in the last 2 minutes of the first half. This drive, the key for it, though, just like Eli Manning used to do, was he would blend in the run. It's like, know what? They're giving you the run. Let's pick up a first down, move the chains. Let's make it, instead of a 2nd and 10, let's make it a 2nd and 5. And all of a sudden it opens up the playbook a little more. It keeps the defense off balance. So I think it took a little while. And also I'll throw this in there too. The Giants have a new offense, and there was no preseason game. So this is the 4th game that they actually are executing this offense against opposition. And I think their team's records that they've played, I have to look at the stats, including the Rams. You would have probably 6-0, 8-1, 11-2.
You've been playing some good defenses.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah, they have.
You've been playing some good defenses.
But luckily,
I totally agree with that.
But luckily,
but now here's something that I want to ask you about in regards to the game today. Okay. And ultimately, this is the NFL. Moral victories are, you already described those. It's about W's. All right. And the difference in this game, I thought the Giants played good enough to win.
Yes.
The difference is one QB threw a pick, the other one didn't.
Yeah, I think it was a broken play with Goff. As they kind of pointed out, it looked like there was zone coverage. The blitz didn't get there in time, and it was just that one play. I mean, on the Daniel Jones pick, it was a great play by the cornerback.
I don't think it was a bad play by Jones. I think it was a great play by the Rams.
Yeah, and you kind of do. And I was so close to, Daniel Jones.
But I had to ask you about it. I had to ask you about it because the stats, when you look at them, that's the one stat that jumps out. I mean, there it is. It wasn't quite the last play of the game, but it really was, the last play of the game. And it was the difference. But without Daniel Jones being Daniel Jones, they would never have been down there. That guy was blowing it up. Yeah. That sack he escaped from. Describe that play real quick, man.
It looked like a good old spin move. He put on, he faked out the Rams defender.
He pulled a Tony Romo on him, dude.
Well, that means the next play he would get hurt and be out for 3 months.
No, it just means they're going to lose the game, which,
but it's also, too, this is a dimension that why you value Daniel Jones is it could be a 3rd down and he can run it. And you know what? He wasn't afraid, he didn't back down from contact.
Oh, he did it again, just like a play or two later, right? Yeah. Boom, boom.
He was smart enough. And also he was, he ran out of bounds to kill the clock. And also I believe when the Rams got the ball back, I think it was 17-9, the Giants defense could have easily quit. They didn't.
Yes,
they got the
stop.
They
did not. They played good football.
They did.
Now, at the end of our show, I asked you one final question, and that was, okay, with the first pick of the NFL draft in 2021, the New York Giants, did they take a QB? And, I mentioned a specific QB, of course. And we were talking about it, but we said, you said Daniel Jones needed to cut the turnovers out and continue his progression. I say mission accomplished. What do you say?
He needs touchdowns in the red zone. And I want to see him.
You didn't mention that, man. You said cut the turnovers.
Cut the turnover.
Okay.
He still had a turnover, though.
He still had one, but again, I don't think that was his fault. You look at the down distance, what was going on. He's having to make a play. He had to try to make that throw. I think he had to try to make that throw right there.
Yeah, I think, though, too.
It was not a bad decision.
The Giants wanted to change the culture. And even though they are 0-4, there are already elements of the culture change. Because I was looking at this game, knowing how last week ended, I'm like, if the Giants come out flat and, they got ran out of the building again, it's like, you know what? It's going to be a long October, November.
Which that first drive.
Yeah, the first drive looked bad. And you know, it's kind of, you know, they look bad on offense. They look bad on defense. They don't quit, which is something that hasn't been with the Giants the last few years. I really do think if you're the Mara family, you look at Joe Judge and he's playing the type of football and culture that you want.
Well, Joe Judge, you know, has that rah-rah attitude. Players seem to definitely buy in to his game. Jason Garrett, as a coach, his players have always played very hard for him. You now have a defensive coordinator that I think is able to use the pieces in front of him in an effective fashion. I think the arrow's definitely pointing up. You have a hell of a game next week, Dallas Cowboys. They do manage to put some points on the board, but man, you're just going to be saying thank you, thank you, thank you at the turnovers.
I hope so. I mean, I do have Dak Prescott in my fantasy league.
Oh, he's great in fantasy, man.
So, yeah, I also picked up the Los Angeles Rams in my fantasy league this week.
All right.
So, you know, I got to be able to, you know, let me get a win somewhere. So it's definitely going to be, you know, it's a divisional game. The Cowboys are probably, of course, the best team in the division right now at 1-3.
The Giants were this close to playing for first place next week.
I know.
And actually, may still be. I'm not certain.
This is the Giants' season. They're this close. You could say they're this close to being 500. You know, because I think
I couldn't say that last season, dude. I thought the Giants were a bad team last season. Okay.
Yeah, well, this year we're losing heartbreakers instead of getting absolutely destroyed.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward for some victories. That has been the quick reaction video from the New York Giants versus the Los Angeles Rams. You can find Mr. Tom McAllister on Twitter at deepfins_com. That's deepfins_com. Be sure to follow him. He's an excellent follow. Really gives a lot of insight. My goodness. And before you sign off, Tom, let him know not only about your New York Giants weekly show, but about a little basketball show that's coming up.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at defend_com. And in November, we're going to start a new show called Battle of the Big East. Because as we all know, you know, the Northeast region and the Big East Basketball Conference, you know, they kind of get disrespected, even though they've had a few national championships the last few years. And I think it's a great conference that has a phenomenal and very engaging fan base. And I look forward to guiding you through this very unique season, to say the least.
Yes, the redheaded stepchild of the basketball powerhouses, right? It is what it is.
Yeah, the redheaded stepchild is, you know, a 6'5", 285-pound monster. Yeah.
And
you know,
by the way, I call him Sir. Okay, that's what I do.
Sir is a good way to describe.
But Mama didn't raise no fool here. All right, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below. Slap that notify bell. Give us a like, a retweet, whatever you do on whichever social media platform you're watching. Without you, none of this is possible. Show back next week. We'll be doing the NFC East early in the week where we'll all get together. Then Tom and I are going to be doing the New York Giants Weekly that goes out on Friday or Saturday. I forget. It's a lot of fun. So till next time, listen like you play with intensity. Go Giants.